Good evening. I just wanted to go over some soft tissue work that we're going to be doing with the lacrosse ball on the upper extremity. This is part of a series of videos that I'll do on soft tissue work or self-myofascial release, which is what I refer to it as in the training protocol. So the lacrosse ball, the foam roller, we've got massage sticks, we've also got a couple of like a therapy cane. There are a couple of different tools that we can use. I like the lacrosse ball, and I like it for big knots of muscle where there's layer upon layer upon layer of muscle that we're trying to get through. Soft tissue work does three things really well that are all beneficial to us. One, it improves circulation to a muscle or muscle group. Two, it gets neuromuscular communication going on. So between the muscle and the brain, yes, the message is simple. It might just be ouch at first, but that's communication. And then third, what it's known for, self-myofascial release, is a release of the muscle and the fascia that is between layers or over the top of a group of muscles. In order to really be myofascial release, though, we need to make the muscle move while we're on it. Otherwise, it's basically just self-massage, and that's fine. That can feel good as well. So we want to make sure that where we can, we're making the muscle or a group of muscles move to help restore independent function to those layers. So upper extremity, I'm going to start off with the shoulder girdle. I'm going to go on the space between the spine and the shoulder blade. I'm going to go on the back side of the shoulder blade itself, and I'm going to go in the front of the shoulder and onto the biceps tendon, all with the lacrosse ball. When I'm rolling the space between the spine and the shoulder blade, I don't want to roll on the spinous processes of the vertebrae themselves because they can be kind of tender. So I'll pull that arm across my body to create some space between the spine and the shoulder blade, and that's where the ball will be rolling. And I can roll up, down, side to side, circles, whatever. That same position, I'll have the arm in that position while I'm doing the space on the back of the shoulder blade as well. But I'll just let that arm hang. I just want to make sure that it's relaxed while I'm getting into it. And then when I'm rolling the front side of the shoulder joint, I want to make sure that my palm is turned towards the wall to kind of open up the front side of that shoulder joint and get into the biceps tendon. So those are the areas that I'm going to roll now. I'm going to start off on the space between the shoulder blades, pull across. I might go up, down, side to side. It might feel good to let the head relax here. But I'm going to smash into those knots that are in there, especially in the upper back. For those with sedentary jobs, which is a lot of our students, it might be north, south, side to side. It might be circles. If there's a plonky bit that you get onto, you might do the area around that knot rather than right on the knot itself in order to help facilitate some circulation in there and help get that blood flow to and from so that that knot can kind of relax a little bit. Whatever has built up in there needs to get moving first. With the lacrosse ball, we can get into some pretty fine points. With the foam roller, we're going to get into some broader sheets of muscle. When I'm on the back side of the shoulder blade, I'm actually getting into 3 out of the 4 rotator cuff muscles just by taking care of the space on the back side of the shoulder blade. The first 2 are down a little bit lower, and that's teres minor and infraspinatus. And then if we go up a little bit above the spine of the scapula, we'll get into supraspinatus, which is a really common one of the rotator cuff muscles to have tissue quality problems. But it's the same thing as what we were doing between the spine and the shoulder blade. You can go side to side, north to south, around in circles. Whenever you find a plonky bit, just kind of stay on it, relax into it a little bit, and make that movement a little bit smaller. Then we'll go over to the front side of the shoulder joint. The biceps tendon is often the culprit of shoulder pain or dysfunction, and it's because of the posture that we stay in most of the time. Oh, this is a nice one. Another area that we're going to use the lacrosse ball on for the upper extremities is the forearm. So here's how it's going to go. I'm going to put my forearm against my rib cage. I got my elbow bent at 90 degrees. I'm going to put the lacrosse ball right there south of the elbow, get against the wall, and just roll along. The top half of the forearm is where most of the muscles that move the wrist are arising. That's where the belly of the muscle is. So while I'm on those trouble spots, I'm going to do a little bit of movement at the wrist with some circles, a few each direction while I'm on the worst of the worst spots after I've kind of explored that region. I can also curl the wrist in and then extend it, and that'll create some movement in that muscle as well. So this is an actual case where we're working on myofascial release. We're trying to get the layers of the muscle that are kind of bound together to start functioning independently of one another again. And we'll do the same thing on both sides, of course. And that's the upper extremity work with the lacrosse ball.